Welcome to the Grand Finale Explainer. This is episode 11 of our 11-part series walking through every single chapter of the book A Soulful Transition, Finding Heart-Led Career in the Age of AI by Breeze Dong. Today, as we finally tackle chapter 11, I actually want us to take a slightly different approach. I invite you right now to just take a breath. Let your shoulders drop a bit and really settle in. We're going to intentionally slow down today, setting a much calmer, more grounded tone as we explore the absolute culmination of all this work. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to just pause for a second and reflect on a genuinely profound question. We spend so much of our lives endlessly optimizing our output, trying so hard to be the ultimate high performer. But what if that is entirely the wrong metric for a meaningful career? Like, what is the actual difference between simply performing well and truly being awake? Section 1. The Journey So Far, From Fear to Resonance. To even begin to answer that question, we really have to acknowledge just what a remarkably long way you and I have traveled together over the course of these explainers. I mean, just look at what we've accomplished so far. We've gently dismantled the company man and the company woman, living rent-free in our heads, driven by pure fear. We've Marie Kondo'd our resumes, completely letting go of those heavy, lifeless skills that don't serve us anymore. We've sat in the incredibly uncomfortable mud of career transition, bravely shaking hands with our very worst demons, and actually trusting the silence of the void. And finally, we started weaving together our resonance squads. Honestly, we have done the heavy lifting. Section 2. The Final Perspective Shift. The Lesson of the Final Breath. Now, there is one final piece of this giant puzzle left, and to understand it, I actually need to invite you completely out of the office. Step away from the glowing screens, ignore the urgent Slack notifications for a minute. I want to take you into a very quiet room at Christmas time, back in the winter of 2022.
That winter, the author's father-in-law, Norbert, passed away, and as he approached his final hours, he didn't struggle. There was absolutely no hungry ghost inside him begging for just one more accomplishment. He didn't ask to check his email. He didn't ask if he had finally made senior vice president. The room was just filled with this thick, tangible peace. He was whole. And Breeze notes that witnessing that kind of profound peace completely evaporated the internal company man. Standing in that holy silence, all those everyday worries about quarterly targets or AI taking our jobs didn't just seem unimportant, they seemed completely absurd.
Let's look at how this builds on a concept we actually covered earlier. Remember the formula love equals seeing plus distance minus judgment? Well, death, or even just witnessing it, provides the ultimate distance. When you're standing right at the edge of life, you have total detachment from your ego. You aren't the manager anymore. You aren't the success. You are simply consciousness witnessing the universe unfold. And from that vast, incredible distance, office politics, petty grievances, and all that daily anxiety, it just dissolves. There's literally no room left for judgment. You just fiercely cherish the breath you are taking. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth are we discussing mortality in a career explainer? Well, because the secret to navigating the absolute chaos of the modern work world, the collaborative overload, the systemic burnout, it isn't some fancy new productivity app. The secret is to die before you die. It's letting the terrified small self, that fragile ego obsessed with status and safety, just die, so the connected big self can finally step up and lead. Section 3. Bodhisattva in the Boardroom. Awakening at Work. This brings us right to a deeply powerful ancient archetype that perfectly embodies this new, awakened way of working. The Bodhisattva in the Boardroom. Now, what's really interesting about this definition is that in the Buddhist tradition, a bodhisattva is an awakened being who consciously chooses to stay in the messy world to help others, rather than just disappearing into eternal bliss. When you apply that to your career, it means you don't have to retreat to a cave in the mountains to find peace. No, you walk right through the corporate marketplace. You attend the Monday morning strategy meeting. You diligently answer the emails. But you do it all with a secret knowledge. You know it is all a game. The fancy titles and the urgent deadlines, they're just relative realities, not the ultimate reality. Let's actually play this out in a real-world scenario. Imagine the CEO is loudly shouting about a missed deadline, Slack is pinging like crazy, and this heavy fear of obsolescence is just hanging in the air. The company man reacts with absolute unfiltered panic. The body tightens up, that shallow, speedy lung defensive breathing kicks right in, and they see absolutely everything as a mortal threat. But the Bodhisattva? The Bodhisattva simply breathes.
You look around that tense boardroom and you don't see threats. You see fragile human beings desperately trying to find safety. You see the CEO's underlying fear. You see your coworkers' deep exhaustion, and you just smile compassionately, knowing the quarterly report isn't the true reality. The human connection between you and those people is. Section 4. The paradox of non-attachment, the ultimate career hack. Okay, I know the practical voice in your head right now is asking a very, very valid question. Wait, if I totally detach from my job and just sit around smiling compassionately, won't I become super lazy? Won't I just get fired? And that perfectly leads us to the ultimate career hack, the paradox of non-attachment. And this brilliantly illustrates why the person who is the least attached to the job is actually, ironically, the best at the job. Let's compare how this plays out. When you get a really angry legal email, the anxious company man takes it incredibly personally and immediately escalates the conflict. But the fearless Bodhisattva, they calmly solve the root cause because they aren't distracted by ego drama. When a project fails, the company man hides or points fingers. The Bodhisattva looks at it with perfectly clear eyes to learn, making them hands down the most innovative person in the room. And when faced with an AI threat, the company man frantically builds defensive walls, while the Bodhisattva happily hands over machine work to machines, freeing themselves up to do the real, connective human work. Anxiety makes you rigid and defensive. Non-attachment, that makes you fearless, incredibly adaptable, and highly effective. Section 5. The Great Exhale. Freedom from the costume. When you truly internalize all of this, you experience what we call the Great Exhale. You suddenly realize that your career is just a temporary costume you wear, and removing that heavy costume brings immense, life-changing freedom. I want you to try on a few mantras with me. If you lose the job, it's okay. I am not the job. Just let that truly sink in for a moment. Feel the weight lift. Now try this one. If AI completely changes the industry, it's okay. My value is my human soul, not my output. You are not a machine meant to be constantly optimized or outperformed. And finally, if you have to sit in the uncomfortable void, it's okay. I know how to just be. So the crucial point is this mic drop moment. All our stress comes from the total delusion that controlling variables makes us safe. True peace doesn't come from fighting your way to inbox zero. It comes from deeply fundamentally knowing that the inbox doesn't actually matter. Section 6. Dedication of merit. Passing the wisdom. We are literally standing at the threshold of a new era. The old maps are useless now, and the old corporate ladders are actively burning down. It is time to play the new game. Play it with joy, absolutely play it with excellence, but do it as a vast, open, conscious space. You are the sky in which the clouds of your career float. As we close out this 11-part explainer series together, I want to invite you to do something with me right here, right now. It's a traditional Buddhist meditation practice called the dedication of merit. Instead of hoarding all the good energy we've built up over these episodes, we're going to give it away. I'm talking directly to you, joining me right now. Let's walk through this together. In just a moment, you're going to close this laptop or put down your phone. But first, let your shoulders drop again. Take a deep, deep breath. Now, I want you to think of one specific person you work with who is suffering. Someone stressed, angry, or afraid. Maybe it's even the person who sent you that angry email. We are going to consciously dedicate the clarity you gained on this journey directly to them. I want you to literally whisper this out loud to yourself right now. Send this energy out to them. May they be free from suffering. May they be happy. May they find their own peace. You are ready. The boardroom desperately needs you. The world needs the awake you. As Breeze Dong writes at the very end of this journey, welcome to your real life. The only question left is, how will you bring your newly awakened self into your very next meeting? Now, open your laptop and begin.